Thank you for joining us, and thank you for those that are joining us now, or I think we're trying to stream this to YouTube, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, my name is Sam Centeas. I'm the Executive Director of CDFI Friendly, and we're here helping entrepreneurs, developers, and communities access capital that otherwise might not be available. This year, our cover should be showing there for you. It was to try to throw up a bunch of different logos of businesses we've had. We did a couple Facebook posts asking people to send us their logos, and we put them on there, and they actually look really great. This will be a printed booklet that folks will ultimately get, and they'll be on the cover, the front cover and back cover of our booklet. And so the idea was to help highlight those businesses. Many of them we've helped close a loan. Some of them we've given them coaching. Some of them we've hired to cater an event for us. And the thing that I always say is that, businesses that we serve are not seeking charity. They're seeking an opportunity, a chance to show off what they do. And that oftentimes traditional financing requires maybe collateral that they might not have, a good credit history, or scale in a way that emerging businesses and community developers just aren't ready, aren't able to do on their own. And they need some support, and we're there to help with that. So today we'll share the challenges that there are to capital access, the programs and products that we have developed over the years and that grown in 2025 to increase access, and share some exciting plans that are being shaped for 2026. But first, I want to welcome our board chair, Dr. Brianna Allen, to share a little bit from the board perspective.
Well, hello, everyone, and happy, beautiful day. As Sam mentioned, I have the pleasure of serving as the board chair, but in my daytime job, I'm the executive director of the Tolson Center for Community Excellence in Elkhart. And so thank you again for joining us today, and thank you, Sam. As the board chair, I have the privilege of working alongside an incredible group of directors who help guide the strategic direction of this organization. Our responsibility is to ensure that CDFI Friendly South Bend remains focused on its mission while building a strong and sustainable foundation for the future. This past year was one of intentional growth, and Sam will go through all of that or share some highlights of that growth. And we welcome new board members, we strengthen partnerships throughout the region, and we continued developing the policies and systems and the financial resources needed to support the long-term impact of those that we have the opportunity to walk alongside and serve. One of the things that I'm most proud of is that we are not only growing our programs and our community impact, but also strengthening our organization itself. Our board has worked to build operational reserves, expand our capital fund so that we can continue serving entrepreneurs, developers, and community partners for years to come. So we are putting in the work. Sam is doing an amazing job, and the fruits of that is showing and will continue to last. So the success has highlighted throughout this report, or the successes that will be highlighted throughout this report, is the result of collaboration. It reflects the efforts our staff, volunteers, partners, lenders, donors, and community stakeholders who believe that everyone deserves access to opportunity. So thank you all who are with us, and those that are out there, for trusting us. Thank you for your partnership and your support of this work. Sam?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Brianna, and thank you for your leadership of our board. So our next page is one of my kind of the exciting projects that we had, and the Monroe represents, for many that have seen this in downtown South Bend, the Monroe represents the largest CDFI finance development in South Bend. The project will create 57 mixed-use, mixed-income housing units, as well as some commercial spaces, and serve as an anchor for continued investment in the neighborhood. I won't read things that are on each of the slides as we kind of roll through. But what many people won't see, when you look at these projects, is the amount of time that they take, the steps and the process, and from initial idea to where it ends up. We first became involved in this project years ago. Ann Mannix, our former board chair, was very deeply involved in the project and supporting Devereaux Peters through this project. And these projects take patience, persistence, and partners that are willing to see potential before everyone else does, which is where CDFIs tend to step in. In this case, it was Sinair and Intent Indiana that both helped assemble nearly $14 million in CDFI financing, along with tax credits and then ready funding and other sources along with bank partnerships that were able to make an investment like this happen in our community. And what makes this project really special isn't just the size of the investment, which is the easy part to get excited about, but it's what the investment creates, right? It's going to be housing opportunities, it's commercial space, it's economic activity in an area that really needs it, and momentum for future development right around in the blocks that surround it. So this project is proof that when the right capital partners are at the table, right, transformational community projects can move forward from concept to reality. It was one of the things when I caught one of the elected officials that was at the event, I said, projects like this, might not happen without a CDFI. We're a part of the cog, and it's really important to see that happen. And we're so excited for Devereaux as she continues to lead this project and others in the future in our community. Our next page, I'd like to ask one of our newer board members, and Rebecca, to introduce herself quickly and then talk about our next slide.
Thanks a lot, Sam. Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Sporer. I'm a proud South Bend native, recently moved back to South Bend after being away for 20 years. Graduated from Notre Dame and then moved to New York and then Europe for about 17 years, where I worked in international development and impact investing. And part of my experience included supporting small and growing businesses, mostly in emerging markets in East Africa and Asia and the Middle East. And I'm really excited to be able to kind of bring that experience back home. And joining this board has just been so fulfilling. It's only been about 6 months, but I've already learned kind of so much about my own community and met so many fantastic people. That yeah, it just really feels like a full circle moment, and I'm really excited to be involved in and for what the future holds. So thank you very much for allowing me to join the board and to learn more about my own community and see how I can help out. So with that, my first project as a board member was to help out with the annual report, bringing my experience from impact reporting for impact investors and development organizations here. So we started looking over the numbers together from 2025, seeing how we could kind of show our key performance indicators. And some important numbers are around number of loans and the kind of total loan amount. Those are kind of leading KPIs. And that's what you see on this slide. But I think behind that is really the growth trend year on year. So we decided to show the previous 3 years of number of loans. But what we don't see is the true baseline, which is before we existed, because we're a pretty young organization. And the real baseline behind this is less than 3 or 4 loans a year in this area from CDFIs. And that's one of the things that we've been looking into now. We've been bridging the gap between regional CDFIs and kind of showing kind of this area, South Bend, Mishawaka, Elkhart, Niles, to the kind of broader CDFI community. And what you also kind of see behind the numbers is the purpose of the loan. So behind each loan is an entrepreneur. You saw all of and we have at least one of those entrepreneurs, I think, here on the call that will speak a little bit later. So yeah, behind the quantitative numbers, there's a story. Those entrepreneurs are getting growth capital and using that to then reinvest kind of in this community. So you have that virtuous cycle, as well as home developers. So if you kind of take out the outlying large loan for the Monroe project, it's about 27 loans, which are averaging about 50,000 per loan. And but the loans for the real estate are much higher than the small business loans, which could be as small as $2,000 or $3,000, which would be very difficult for a commercial bank to lend to. So these are really entrepreneurs that wouldn't be able to access this capital any other way. And I think, yeah, again, for me, what this really resonates is just showing how, even with a relatively new organization, just being able to earn the trust in the community with these entrepreneurs, to be able to work together with them, because it's more than just capital as well. It's also advice, making sure that they're capital ready, and able to pay back those loans and grow those businesses. So I think with that, I will hand it back over to Sam. in case I missed anything, and hand it back over to you.
Oh, you're great. You covered that very, very well. Thank you, Rebecca. And it's been great to have you as an addition to our team. And so one of the things that Rebecca was mentioning was that as our local impact has grown, so have the opportunities then for us to share with other communities about what we're doing. And so it's exciting for me. And those that know me know I love speaking and presenting places. And so we had the opportunity to speak at regional, state, and national conferences over the last year. And actually the Global Entrepreneurship Conference is actually international. It happened to be in Indianapolis last year. And so we were able to go out and share what we're doing here in this region. And South Bend is not unlike many other parts of the country that are just far enough away from a major urban city that they don't get the positive impacts that might come from that. And so the example, like when many of you that have met with me about CDFI Friendly from our start, was that there aren't CDFIs in the South Bend region, but there are great ones in Detroit, Chicago, Grand Rapids, Indianapolis, that can serve this market. We just need to help get their attention and be a partner with them to create that. So we got to be on the road. Indiana has 3, so there's CDFI Friendly in Bloomington and CDFI Friendly in Evansville, and we get to share our work. And so this slide shares the stat that Rebecca mentioned earlier, that less than $250,000 of investment and generally about 3 loans per year were what was happening in South Bend specifically, and even less so in some of the other communities we serve, like Marshall and Elkhart and Niles. And so this was a space where we were not getting our per capita investment, and so growing it to several million per year has been an important thing. And it's been a remarkable shift, and it's attracted attention from others who want to ask how we've done it. And really, I also will share this. Is that the magic sauce was in asking the community what they needed. For those that know about, community development work, it isn't about creating a solution that you think is needed, but it's about asking the small businesses, the affordable housing developers, local community, what is needed. And I think we've really worked hard to deliver that with CDFI Friendly. So with that, the other one that we're proving is that capital access doesn't happen by accident, right? We can't just fly up a flag and just all of a sudden, loans are going to happen. It happens when we intentionally build these relationships between borrowers, lenders, and community partners. And that's why it's great to see, as folks are coming in, we've got banks here, we've got community partners here, I've got board members here, we've got businesses we've helped. And so it is that network where a business that we help then tells another business to say, like, hey, CDFI Friendly helped me get this loan that I needed to buy a deep fryer or to service a contract or to do something, and then we can work with somebody else. And the same, we get a bank that will connect one of their clients to us that we can help, help their client meet a need. And so we love talking about the work we've done. I specifically love being out talking about the work we've done. If there's a community organization you're a part of, a group you'd like us to speak to, I'm always happy to go out and either talk about our work or just talk about the types of education that we provide to clients and to help do that. So more than happy to be out in more and more spaces over this next year. Next up is talking about an impact story. And so I'd like to ask Alejandro to introduce himself and talk a little bit about his experience as a client and what he's doing now.
Hello, everybody. My name's Alejandro Sacedo, owner of Indiana's Elite Services, proud board member, and former client of CDFI Friendly. CDFI Friendly's impact just speaks volumes of where I was to where I am today. Everybody knew quickly in my entrepreneurial journey, as starting out as a janitorial company, and learning about the opportunity supplier diversity initiatives and organizations have, really was hungry for those large scale projects. Kind of became known, Alejandro wants big projects. He wants to move forward and scale. But I had a lot to learn in that process. If you were to ask me what success looked like in business, I originally would have told you, if I could make $100,000, that'd be great. And, just continuous learning showed me what was really available. And it's kind of cool to see that the Rocks project was presented, because that was my second attempt at bidding on a large scale project, which ultimately led me to my joint venture partners, C. Garcia Associate and Foso Construction, which with that partnership allowed me to participate on a project with the Indiana Toll Road. In order to do that type of project, I'm going to need some capital to cash flow this thing. Sat down with every banking institution I could and presented the business, and ultimately was just getting denied and being able to secure that financing to do a large scale project. Just got told no, didn't really understand why. And that's where CDFI Friendly stepped in. Through the capital coaching program, I learned the ins and outs of the way banking institution works, the process, what they're looking for. I could easily get on QuickBooks. I was well versed in what type of documents needed to be presented for a loan, getting my P&Ls, my bank statements, things like that. I could quickly download them off QuickBooks, but what the data said, what the story told about my business, that's where I was not well versed. And that's what the capital coaching program supported me in. It helped me understand my numbers. It helped me to be able to present to a banking institution or a loan provider my story and what I was trying to accomplish and what happened in between the lines. That's what the capital coaching did. It helped educate me to now where I'm credit worthy, right? I have no issues with securing financing for any projects that I have, and I have scaled astronomically. So for year one, after CDFI's loan that we received in year two, we quadrupled our revenue from year one. By year three, we 20x'd our profitability. And then for year four, which is where I am today, we're looking at scaling probably another quadruple X from year three. So things are going well. This is the impact that CDFI Friendly has done in my business. But it goes and reaches beyond just my business, right? But it's the team that I lead and the impact it's making in their families' lives. I was able to purchase my first home. When I started in business, I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with my mother in downtown South Bend, trying to get this thing lifted. And now we own our own home. I have a second home where I'm able to be a father to my son in Southern Indiana throughout the week. And so this is the impact it's made in my personal life. And I'm just honored today to see this slide with Raymond Mazzetta, my partner, on my side, who believed in me, gave me these opportunities, and brought me along with CDFI and everybody that was there to support us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And I appreciated your story. And when you mentioned wanting to join our board when we were looking for folks, I was like, oh man, that would be fantastic and perfect. And so we're glad that you were able to join our board and now provide expertise and your experience with others to show why this work is important. A couple of things I want to highlight on this slide, and it is part of we try to be really clear that when we talk about the support we provide to small businesses, we want to be encouraging, but we are here to help access capital. We are here to be a direct partner in finding capital for businesses when they need it. We're not just going to cheer you on, but we're going to be there. We're going to run the race. We're going to see you at the finish line. And we're excited to see the success that Alejandro and his business has had. And so congrats, Alejandro, and thank you for your service. The other one I want to highlight here, because I know we've got a couple of our partners here, and I'm sure some folks will see it online as well, but we can't do this work without good financial partners. And so our banking partners have been a godsend, from providing grants to sponsorships to technical assistance. And so we have the list of our partners there at the bottom. And so for those of you that are on the call, the call to Zoom today, thank you for your support. Thank you for your continued support. And we're excited about some partnerships that are developing for this year and in the future to make sure that we're able to continue this important work. So another good client story here, Aromas Durango is there, one of my the favorite food trucks to see around town lately. And it's been great to see these stories as we help use how we helped Alejandro was through the capital fund we have. So we were able to provide technical assistance, but then we were able to help potential borrowers overcome collateral gaps or other things that are needed to help them access capital. So, and one thing that we've learned is that not every, financing challenge can be solved through traditional lending, and that, looking for smaller amounts of flexible capital, or looking at bridge loans, or finding a way to cross an appraisal gap and figure out how to make a deal for a developer on a project that makes sense for our community and will be profitable, is something that we've taken a lot of work to be creative. So we actually grown our capital fund. Our annual report, a snapshot of January 1 showed us at just under $1 million. We are over $1 million now, and we're about to secure probably one more grant in the next month or so that's going to help continue to grow that fund, and allows us to continue to make an impact for businesses that need that support to ensure that we're able to help them close a loan. Since 2023, when we launched our first pilot program from that fund, was our alternative equity investment program. And so that helped secure nearly $1.7 million in additional financing that was secured off of about $280,000 of our investment. And so it's a big multiplier, and created and supported 23 affordable housing units in the community. So not only did it make financial sense, but it made community impact sense. And so that's where it's a perfect confluence for us. We also have gotten to support 16 loans through the Fusion Fest fund that we created with the City of South Bend. So thank you to the City of South Bend. The deadline for vendors to apply for the festival just passed. We helped promote that, and we're looking forward to now working with approved vendors for this year's festival in September, that we can help support their capital access needs for them to be able to participate in that important cultural event in South Bend and other economic development events throughout the region. So the key takeaway for me on this slide is talking about leverage. Every dollar that we're able to invest through these programs helps unlock additional private and public investment throughout the community. So dollars invested with us from our banking partners and donors and municipalities really do go a really, really long way in helping to continue to grow our impact. So our next slide here is one of my favorites when I talk about the workshops and programs we do and how we engage with our CDFI partners. So at our core, we were designed to increase CDFI lending in our region. The CDFIs listed on the bottom of this page here have been our core partners in doing programming here. And so I want to make sure that I highlighted a couple of these events here. The top one there is actually, when I think about partnerships, our top one there is Allies for Community Business, the CDFI in Chicago. They come annually here to South Bend to do a workshop. That workshop was at the Momentum Hub before the Momentum Hub even opened, because we were partners with them. So we were able to plan an event before they were even open and do that. The lower picture is us up in Niles. And so that's in Niles, Michigan at 210 Main, which is a small business co-working space in downtown Niles, where we connected with the Emerge hub out of Benton Harbor, St. Joe area there in Niles. And we're able to partner and bring critical information to entrepreneurs in our region about capital access. So those are ways that we love to do that. I'll show a photo later of our most recent event, which was in Elkhart, as we continue to do that work. What our role is to connect the dots. I think that's one of the really important, critical things that we're able to do. Some of you might have noticed them, but in the background of the slides here, there's some little dots and there's some little lines around there. I think they'll show up better in print. But that's what we do. That's how we support people. We connect, like, oh, you need this. Maybe it's a referral. Maybe it's capital. Maybe it's an application point. Maybe it's somebody that you can connect to and talk about what it is that you need to do next. And so I believe that capital access, right, creates opportunity for people. So if we can connect those dots to the right partner at the right time, it helps businesses expand. It helps create jobs. It helps preserve housing. It helps strengthen neighborhoods. And maybe most importantly, it builds wealth and for families and communities, oftentimes that haven't had those same opportunities. So the result of this report belongs to all of our partners. We're not doing this in a vacuum. As I mentioned earlier, we do it with the support of our local financial institutions. We do it in partnership with our CDFIs, and then a lot of other technical assistance providers here in the community. That is the end of our printed report that everybody will be getting here soon. It'll be a cool little booklet that is being wrapped up right now. And I'm going to run into talking about our 2026 items here for a quick second, and then we're going to take some questions if folks want to ask some questions. But yeah, as we look at 2026, this won't be in the booklet, right? Because it's just the 2025 booklet. But as we look at 2026, we're excited about a couple very, very core things. One of those is we kicked off the year at a partnership with InFocus. So we have an InFocus fellow. And very soon, we're going to see all new application forms. We're going to see better capital coaching tracking mechanisms. We started all of these things, and as they've all grown, now we need some opportunity to look at efficiency, to look at some ways that we can help scale to serve more communities. And we're proud to have the InFocus partnership coming alongside with us to help there. The other big one is talking about our grant. We just announced that last week, or maybe been about 10 days now. We have a matching grant from the Community Foundation of St. Joe County. A core part of that is around creating a professional office space for the organization. For those of you that know me, I do all my meetings, as is in that photo there. Generally, all my meetings are at coffee shops, or I'm Zooming from the basement of my house with everybody. And I think, one, the entrepreneurs that we work with deserve to meet, have a professional meeting in a professional space, and we're excited to be working on developing what that looks like. As well, that space will create a more collaborative environment to continue to build those relationships between our banks and our CDFIs, between ourselves and our community partners, so that we have a space to share, so that we're not just always looking to share other people's things, but we're able to also then bring resources and assets to the table. So we're excited about that. If you want to help us raise some of those match dollars, please let me know. There's donate on our website. And then the last one, as we work with continued with our grant writing this year, is continuing to see regional expansion. That's the little icon that was actually a regional expansion icon from last year. But we did a workshop this year with Brightpoint, which was their first time doing a workshop here in the region. They're a CDFI from Fort Wayne. And then we did a workshop. That photo there is an Elkhart, talking about the Woodland Crossing project, and very excited about opportunities that are there in Elkhart. And businesses we're supporting throughout the region, from Plymouth to Niles to you name it. And so I love putting some miles on the car and driving around and seeing new communities and seeing ways that we're able to support. At the beginning, there was a QR code which went to our homepage. This QR code goes to our news reel. A couple things I'll highlight. Alejandro's story is actually one of our news stories on our website. It actually includes some quotes from his capital coach, Nick Ladig from Fort Wayne. And so, we try to put some news stories up there to provide some well-rounded, kind of robust background and information on some of the things we've done. So with that, I will open it up for questions. I think people can all go off mute on their own and ask something if you would like, or just general comments. Or board members, there's a lot of you here. If there's something I forgot, or if you need to raise your hand, I think you can all unmute yourself, right?
We just have some shy people. I just wanted to shout out real quick. Great job, everything, to everybody on the board, and Alejandro, the amazing job that you have done in the last couple of years, working with CDFI and with Remo and everything. I mean, yeah, it says a lot. I just want to make that comment.
Thank you, Paula. Paula's also on our board.
I too, just, my experience with CDFI, when in this day and age with trying to secure financing, it can be very challenging for anybody. And it's exactly why CDFI exists, like as we've spoken about. And so as I connect with other entrepreneurs as a GC, trying to help other minority contractors scale and participate on some of the projects that we have going, it's always, we need to get you connected with CDFI. That's how I did it. It's been proven successful. And, I always lean on trying to get people connected with Sam. But we also have to be aware that we need to have somewhat of our ducks in a row. Like he said, we can't just throw up a red flag and like, oh, you want a loan? You get a loan. We get a loan. We get a loan. We're not Oprah here. So it does take work. And I think as a board collectively, we're working hard to be able to offer you what we can. So as long as you're willing to do your part, we can all come together to continue to make impacts throughout our region and through so many businesses.
Not seeing questions. I'm going to give about 2 seconds, and I'll answer a question that people often ask me. So people ask, how can we help? And so I mentioned earlier inviting us to speak at places, whether that's a group. I think by now, I think we've connected with every local entrepreneurship group and done some type of presentation for them. Always happy to do more, but if you know of a group, please connect us. If you know of an entrepreneur that could use some support, talk to them, talk to us. I'll connect with them directly. We're not shy about reaching out or walking into a shop to just talk to somebody. And so we want to be there. And one of the things maybe I'll add in that we probably need to remember to talk about a little more, we try to do this, is one of the things we try to do is help people avoid bad debt. And we often get people that come to us after they've taken a really bad merchant cash advance or done something predatory loan in some way, or have just maxed out a ton of credit cards and they don't know what to do next, and get themselves into a point where they're stuck. And oftentimes because they didn't know who to ask or what to do. And so, please referring folks to us that, we're going to keep things, confidential. We want to have a conversation and see if there's some ways that we can help. But most definitely, one of the things I would love to be able to do more is prevent people from getting into some of the situations that I end up seeing people in, where at some point, oftentimes there's just not a whole lot you can do. And so that's a big one. If you could send folks to us. We find that oftentimes our ribbon cuttings tend to be our best referral events because other businesses are there and they're like, how'd you help them do that? And then they want help, And so for sure, if you know somebody, please send them our way. The other thing, I guess we never really mention a whole lot. It's on our website a bit, but I try to remind people that our services are free. We're not a broker. We're not making money referring loans out here.